Moscow, January 1983. The cold in Moscow wasn't like cold back home. It was a living thing, Grandpa said, something that crawled inside your bones and nested there. He'd been stationed at the embassy for 2 years by then, officially a cultural attaché, actually CIA. His cover was solid, his Russian was flawless, he thought he was untouchable. Then came the night they took David Kellerman. David was young, 26, eager, stupidly brave. He'd been photographing documents in a building near Lubyanka when the lights came on. Just like that, his career ended. Maybe his life too, though they'd never found the body. The agency pulled everyone back, tightened protocols. But Grandpa had one final dead drop to service, one last package to retrieve from an asset inside the Ministry of Defense. He went alone on a Tuesday evening in February. The streets were empty, the snow falling in thick, silent curtains. He never saw them coming. One moment he was walking past the Bolshoi Theater. The next, there were hands on him, a cloth over his face, and the world dissolved into chemical darkness. When he woke, he was somewhere else entirely. The room was concrete, no windows. A single bulb hung from a wire in the ceiling, swaying slightly though there was no breeze. The light it cast was yellow and sick, making everything look jaundiced and dying. Grandpa was strapped to a metal chair, wrists and ankles bound with leather restraints that smelled of old sweat and copper. The chair itself was bolted to the floor. He could feel the vibration through it, a deep thrumming that came from somewhere far below, like the heartbeat of an enormous sleeping thing. His head throbbed. His mouth tasted of blood and chemicals. He tried to speak, but his tongue was swollen, uncooperative. The door opened. 3 men entered. 2 were built like cement blocks, silent and expressionless. The third was different, slender, almost delicate, with wire-rimmed glasses and the soft hands of a scholar. He wore a gray suit that looked expensive, out of place in that concrete tomb. "Mr. Chapman," the man said in perfect English, "I am Dr. Volkov. We have much to discuss." Grandpa tried to respond, but managed only a croak. Volkov smiled, pulled up a wooden stool and sat down facing him. The smile never reached his eyes. "You are not in pain yet," Volkov said conversationally. "This is important for you to understand. What you feel now is merely discomfort. We have not begun." He produced a leather case from his jacket, opened it on his lap. Inside were instruments. Medical instruments, Grandpa thought at first, but then he looked closer. Needles of varying lengths, thin metal rods, things with screws and hinges whose purpose he couldn't fathom. "The Americans," Volkov continued, selecting a thin probe. "They believe torture is crude. Beating, waterboarding, electricity. Primitive. We Soviets, we understand that the body is merely the keyboard. The mind is the instrument we play." He held up the probe. It caught the sick yellow light. "This facility was built in 1952, Volkov said. "We have been refining our methods for 31 years. We have learned things about the human nervous system that your doctors cannot imagine. We have discovered that pain is not the most effective tool. Do you know what is?" Grandpa managed to shake his head. "Anticipation," Volkov whispered, and silence. They didn't hurt him that day. Instead, they left him alone. Hours passed. The light never changed. The thrumming continued, that deep vibration that seemed to come from the earth itself. Grandpa's restraints were tight enough to prevent movement, but not tight enough to cut circulation, perfectly calibrated to allow no relief. His bladder filled. Eventually, it emptied. The warmth spread and then cooled and then became part of the general wretchedness of his situation. Still nothing happened. He tried to keep track of time but had no reference point. Was it day, night? Had minutes passed or hours? His watch was gone. The yellow bulb never flickered. The thrumming never changed pitch or rhythm. He began to understand what Volkov had meant about anticipation. Eventually, after what might have been 6 hours or 16, the door opened again. Volkov entered alone this time, carrying a tray. On it was a bowl of thin soup, a piece of black bread, a cup of water. "You must eat," Volkov said. "We need you healthy." He unstrapped one of Grandpa's hands. The relief was instantaneous and agonizing. Blood rushed back into tissues, nerves screaming their confusion. Grandpa grabbed the bread with shaking fingers, shoved it into his mouth. It was stale and hard, but he didn't care. Volkov watched with clinical interest. "Tell me about your contact in the ministry," he said. Grandpa didn't answer. He'd been trained for this. Name, rank, serial number, nothing else. Volkov nodded as if this confirmed something. He let Grandpa finish eating, gave him the water. Then he restrapped the hand and stood. "Tomorrow," he said, "we begin the real work." He left. The door closed with a sound like a coffin ceiling. The thrumming continued. When they came for him next, the two cement block men wheeled in a gurney. They unstrapped Grandpa from the chair, his muscles screamed, his joints popped, and moved him onto the gurney. Leather straps again, but these were different. These immobilized him completely. He couldn't even turn his head. The walls were padded with some kind of gray foam. The padding extended to the ceiling, to the floor. There were no visible lights, but somehow the room was illuminated, a sourceless glow that came from everywhere and nowhere. The air felt dead, absorbed. When the door closed behind the cement blocks as they left, the silence was absolute. Grandpa lay there, strapped and immobile, and realized he couldn't hear his own breathing. The room ate sound, completely. When he tried to shout, he felt his vocal cords vibrate but heard nothing. The silence was so complete, it was almost a physical presence, pressing down on him like water at depth. Minutes passed, hours, he couldn't tell. Then the hallucinations started. His heart hammered. He could feel it in his chest, could feel his pulse in his temples, but couldn't hear it. The disconnection was maddening. His own body was betraying him, functioning silently in a void. The shadows touched him. Their fingers were ice. They traced lines on his skin, gentle as lovers, cold as death. One bent close to his face. He could see every detail, the hollow eyes, the mouth that moved in soundless words. He tried to scream. Nothing. The silence swallowed everything. Volkov's explanation. They pulled him out after what might have been a day. Grandpa had lost all concept of time. His mind felt shattered, fragmented. When they wheeled him back to the original room and strapped him to the chair, he was weeping silently, his face wet, his body shaking. "The silence room," he said, "was developed by studying sensory deprivation experiments. But we discovered something the Americans did not. Complete silence is not merely the absence of sound. It is the presence of something else. Something that lives in that absence.